Hello, everyone. Welcome to the ASLI conference. My name is Kelry Loy from NUS. My colleague, Dr. Wee Ming Singh, and I, together, we are the co-directors of the ASLI Secretariat. Right, so welcome to the ASLI Open Forum. So this year, the ASLI conference is generously hosted by the University of Tokyo. Yeah. So welcome to the conference, welcome to the forum. And the purpose of this open forum is really to introduce to those of you who are not familiar as to what ASLI is about, is to introduce to you what ASLI membership means, what ASLI is about, what benefits you can get out of becoming involved in an association like ASLI, right? So could I trouble Lynette or Alex to put up the slides? Thanks. Right? So that's my name, Kelry Loy, right? And Dr. Wee Ming Singh, my colleague, is my co-director. Right. So what does the ASLI membership entail? Now, bear in mind that ASLI, the Asian Law Institute, is really an association. It is an association of law schools, right? So ASLI membership is by way of institution. The members of ASLI are actually law schools interested in Asian law. So what are the benefits of ASLI membership? For instance, right, if your institution, if your law school joins and become a member of ASLI, then your law school, your institution will receive copies of the Asian Journal of Comparative Law, the ASJCL, which is one of the leading journals on comparative law, and it is currently published by CUP, Cambridge Publishing, right? Other than that, full-time academic staff from your institution, all right, not adjuncts, not part-timers, right? Full-time academic staff from your institution will be able to participate in the activities of ASLI members. Particularly, they will be able to apply on a competitive basis, right, for ASLI fellowship. The ASLI fellowship is essentially a fellowship that involves about 6 to 8 full-time academic staff from ASLI institutions coming to Singapore to visit the Faculty of Law at the National University of Singapore. All right. The reason why the ASLI Fellowship, all right, is hosted at NUS in Singapore is simply for a very practical reason. That's because the Secretariat of ASLI is actually hosted at the Faculty of Law in Singapore, right? So the prospective ASLI Fellow comes to visit NUS and undertake some research activities here, right? So if you want to become an ASLI Fellow, number one, your institution must be an ASLI institution. Secondly, you have to go through the application process, which you can get the details of this, all right, online or by contacting the ASLI Secretariat. Now, another benefit is that if your institution is an ASLI member, then you can apply to the ASLI Secretariat to come and be a visiting scholar, all right, for up to 1 month for your research, but this is at your own cost. So the ASLI visiting scholar is really a courtesy, right? So if you have, say, sabbatical leave of about a month or more, and you want to spend some of that time in Singapore, apply to the ASLI Secretariat and you can come visit at your own cost, but we'll provide a workstation here at the NUS campus, right? On the other hand, the ASLI fellowship, all right, it's a much more elaborate, much more formal program, limited to about 6 to 8 persons a year. It includes, all right, if you become an ASLI fellow, you get housing allowance and you get a stipend as well, all right? Because we understand Singapore can be a rather expensive place to stay for about 1 to 2 months. Yeah. So moving on. Now, the other benefit that you get if your institution becomes an ASLI member is that when you apply to come to the ASLI conference, you know by now that you have to pay a registration fee. Now, if your institution is an ASLI member, then you can get a Singapore $100 discount on the registration fee. Now, this may not seem useful now or in the past 2-3 years, because we have been having a virtual ASLI conference, in which case the registration fee is only a nominal $50, right? But when travel resumes, and we expect that this will happen soon, so when travel resumes and the ASLI conference becomes in person next year here in Singapore, the conference registration fee is between 300 to 600 Singapore dollars. So a $100 discount will be quite substantial, right? So moving on to the annual membership fee, right? Now, so how much does it cost? Well, as I said, the ASLI membership is by way of institution. So if a law school wants to join as a member institution, the annual fee is between $200 to $300, depending on whether that institution is in a listed jurisdiction. The list is available online on the ASLI webpage. Now, what does this actually mean? What is a listed jurisdiction? Essentially, the listed jurisdictions are jurisdictions which are wealthier, more economically developed jurisdictions, right? So currently, ASLI has got about 100 member institutions. I think it's 93 member institutions, including 16 founding members and another 17 ordinary member institutions, all right, from all over the world. Okay, you can have a look at which institutions are ASLI members online at the ASLI webpage, right? So we have lots of law schools coming in from China, India, Indonesia, and Australia. All right, these jurisdictions generate the largest number of law schools which are ASLI members. Right? So we can talk a bit more about the ASLI Fellowship Program, because that's one of our flagship programs, right? So ASLI has got a flagship event, and the flagship event is this particular conference that you're attending right now, the annual ASLI conference, right? Now, another flagship program of ASLI is our ASLI Fellowship, the one I talked about earlier on, right? If you are a full-time faculty member, all right, of an institution which is a member of ASLI, then you can apply to be an ASLI Fellow to come to visit the Faculty of Law at Singapore for up to 2 months, right? Between 1 to 2 months. You'll have to stay in Singapore and be in residence at the Faculty of Law at NUS during this period of your fellowship, right? Now, this fellowship comes with a stipend as well as airfare, all right? So it comes with money as well. Now, while you are here as a fellow, as an ASLI fellow, you're supposed to conduct research, all right, on an area of Asian law that you're interested in, right? And apart from that, you're supposed to conduct that research, present your research, write up your paper, present your research at a seminar. All right. And that paper will then be put into our ASLI working paper series shortly after you finish your fellowship here at Singapore. Okay. The point is that ASLI has welcomed about 129 ASLI fellows since 2003. Okay. Now, we haven't welcomed any ASLI fellows here in Singapore in the last 2.5 years. But as I said, once travel restrictions are lifted, and we expect this to happen soon, we should be hosting our ASLI fellows in September. All right. They come in 2 batches. So we expect them to come in September, and I believe next year in February. Right. So this is a prestigious program. All right. Some of our previous ASLI fellows are now in leadership roles in their home institutions. So anyway, let's talk a bit about the conference this year. Now, the conference this year, we have got 275 abstracts that were submitted. So we were rather selective because we want to make sure that the conference papers are of a certain caliber and quality before we admit them to presentation at the conference, right? So the papers being presented number 143 in total, all right? And they spread across 27 different teams. The highest number of papers come from India and Japan, the People's Republic of China. Okay, so that's all I want to say. So I hope that those of you who are here today, but your institutions are not yet members of ASLI, perhaps you may want to go back and talk to your dean or the head of department of your law school, and perhaps suggest and hopefully convince your head or dean to apply for your law school to join ASLI, right? That's all I will say for now, unless you have any questions or suggestions that you wish to raise, and then perhaps me or my colleagues in the secretariat could respond. By the way, I should add, right, if you're interested to come and become an ASLI fellow, number one, you must be a full-time academic staff at a law school, which is an ASLI institution. That's number one. Number two, your application must be supported, must be endorsed, right, by your dean or head of department. Okay, I should add that. Thank you.
Could I ask one question? Is that okay?
Sorry, Miss Eriko Tauka? Yes?
Yeah, I have a question. So is this like an application to become an ASLI member? Is it open like an all year around, or like is there any like application period?
The application period is open all year round, all right, but the renewal process takes place at the end of May. So it's done on an annual cycle.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So if there are questions, me and my colleagues at the secretariat will try to answer them. If not, then we can call an early end to the session. But I'll just wait a few more seconds just in case someone has something to say. No? Okay. Perhaps it just means that the information we put online on the ASLI webpage is sufficiently clear. That's good. That's good. So I hope those of you who are here, who come from law schools which are not ASLI members, could perhaps go back and ask your dean or your head of department to consider joining. It does come with some benefits. All right. So that's it. I think we can all go for a nice coffee break and prepare, all right, for the next panel discussion on substantive legal issues. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Loy, for this ASLI Open Forum. So the next session starts at 4 p.m. In Japanese Standard Time in 45 minutes. So please feel free to grab a coffee or your late lunch. And also, as I have mentioned earlier, the special chat is now open. It's a bit tricky when you first use it, but if you, after grabbing a coffee, maybe you can try it, and then you can have more casual conversation with your friends older than you. Okay, so thank you and see you later.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing. Sorry. So the previous breakout rooms are now once closed to rename them to the new panels. So even if you plan to join the same panel number, please select the breakout room once again when the next session starts. Thank you.